one, I'm going to talk about a couple of different programs, but the one I really want to focus on today, because we found this at the Hart School to be the most impactful in terms of adopting one piece of technology that changes a whole lot, has been Sonarworks. How many people in the room have heard of Sonarworks before? Great. Has everybody seen a demo of it yet? How many people have had a demo?
I'm longing for one.
What's that?
I'm longing for one.
You're longing for one. Well, they're here. They have reps here, and I'm sure there's a way we could probably find them. I got to tell you, when I was first approached to host a demo of this, I was just like, oh my God, sales pitch, here we go. And I went into defense mode. I got to shield my students from this, because as educators, I'm going to go back to the system before. The last one is perform, right? When we're professionals and professional audio people, we are just being sold things from the lens of perform, 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 right? There's a million things that will solve my performance problems. Buy this 1176 from this manufacturer. It's just like the real thing. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. Or buy this mastering compressor because your bus needs it. Or it's all for pro people who've already graduated into the performance side, and they can make decisions that are perfectly fine and on their own. And I think that's one of the things that when we get vendors into our schools, we sometimes have to say, okay, this is a sales pitch. It's rhetoric. It's not necessarily the math or the science. It is one of the fun things about being in education. We can then play with the toys and see if we can poke holes in it and get it to fail, and learn from that so that we become better consumers when we hit the professional level. But I gotta say, I was skeptical when Sonarworks showed up saying they could fix our headphone and speaker problems. But they showed up and they did an amazing demonstration, and it blew our minds. This software, as you've heard, corrects for the nonlinearity of headphones to a relatively consistent flat performance. And it's a hard pill to swallow that it does this well, but it really does. And I have seen the demo. I've tried it on lots of different headphones. I've brought it here with me today. I have it loaded on my laptop, so afterward, if you want to put on headphones and try out my laptop, I brought my Bose quiet noise-canceling gizmos, and you can, whatever you want, try it, because I'm not here to make a sale. I'm just saying, check it out, because hearing it it's pretty impressive. For me as a teacher, it's amazing. This has, I'll talk about how it's improved the translatability between student work environment and the treated studio classroom, but it sort of goes beyond that. When the whole class adopts this method of listening, then no matter what headphones you walk into, and the amazing thing about Sonarworks is it works on earbuds that come with your iPhone too, and it's not going to be the greatest, but it's so much better than what those are at a baseline, that if I have all my students with this software, and by the way, academic pricing is available, it's a 50% discount currently, so it's only $50 for this software, I can have my entire class have the same listening environment on headphones. And that standardizes what I can ask as a teacher in terms of what they're going to do when they go home. So I know when I assign critical listening, we're all going to have the same listening experience, right? And that's a disruptive technology, I think. I think that's I don't want to say game changer, but it does change the rules of engagement a little bit. I think for the better for students and teachers. So I contacted them, and they showed me, this is from Sonarworks, this is not my research, but I thought it was really compelling when I saw it, when I got the presentation of it. These are some of the most popular headphone models, and this is a curve showing the nonlinear, each model as they measure what the response curve is for each pair of headphones. We can do an AES thing and pick it apart and throw poo on the manufacturers for giving us non-flat things. The truth is, all these sound great. They're great sounding headphones, but they're voiced in a specific way that matches the branding and differentiation of that manufacturer, and I'm not here to say it's bad. I turn Sonarworks off a lot too, because it's important for me to know what it's going to sound like when someone doesn't have Sonarworks on their headphones. I still have to know what that translatability is. At least I know, though, now what flat is. Just to point out a couple of these, the Sennheiser HD 800s are pretty nice. That's the light blue curve, if you can see it buried in here somewhere. The AKG K240 is the purple curve. They vary an awful lot. When this is a screenshot of my Bose Quiet Comfort Noise Canceling 35 blah 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 with the correction on. So what you're seeing here in the blue is the nonlinearity of my headphones. And then in the green, you see the correction curve, which is exactly the inverse applied to the nonlinear headphones. You'll also notice that it's brought the level down 8.4 dB, so I'm not going to, automatically it does this so that I don't end up crushing my converters at the end and having distortion. It ensures that the drivers don't go beyond their peak performance levels, and I don't have more linearity distortion because of the levels they're being pushed at. I like that, and it was great to explain why that's important to my students. Another fun thing about Sonarworks is that they have a consumer app called TrueFi, which you can download on your phone. And it puts that same technology into a mobile app experience. So, you know, like, you have consumers, this is just a personal side note, this is outside of education. As a mix engineer, when I first adopted this, I was in the middle of working on an album, mixing an album, and I tentatively just tried it out. I was like, I'm gonna do one song with Sonarworks on and I'm gonna send it out. It was a really fussy client, and I was really pissed to learn that there were no notes on that mix when it came back. It worked. It really worked. And I didn't want it to work because I spent a lot of money on my mix room and my equipment. I really thought I had like arrived at the mountaintop. But then when I plugged this in, I was like, oh my God, well, no, there's still more work to do. And it was great to just push a button and get that gratification of Sonarworks doing a lot of that work for me. The studio edition of the software is a little bit bigger. It goes beyond headphones, and I'm not going to talk so much about this today because of time, but we can talk about it more later if you'd like. There's a $199 US dollar version with educational discount that actually corrects for loudspeakers. And the product ships with a calibration microphone. And it uses sonar technology just by pinging the speaker. It just shoots a click out and it picks it up at the mic, and it knows from the delay time exactly how far away you are from the speaker. And so it directs you in the room in real time in a really fun GUI, you know, where you're just kind of moving around the room with a microphone, and it's like, I see you, move a little this way, and it guides you right to where it wants you to be, and then it says stop, and then it sweeps a sine wave, and it listens to itself, and then it figures out, you know, what that curve should be, and then it asks you to do it like 26 or something other times. And then it takes an average of all of those things, and from that average it compiles a sweet spot about 3 feet wide, right in your mix position that, damn it, it's good. I want to say it's snake oil, but it's actually pretty good. I'm not trying to make a sale, I'm just saying, man, I don't think I've seen technology just work that well before in a demo. When they did it in our studio space at the school, the results were like immediately better, and we were up and down 3 dB. But because of the broadband correction, we noticed, like, yes, maybe the biggest frequency shift was in the low end, but then the mid-range got better, and the high-end articulation got better, and we can go back and explain this because of, you know, upward masking, and there's all kinds of reasons why time delays can be corrected, and suddenly the center is more in focus. There's a lot of little things now that just by hitting that button and showing you the difference in my class, my students are like, whoa, I hear the difference, what's going on there? And now I have an open door to a conversation about acoustics, or loudspeaker design, or a headphone design, or lack thereof. And that's exciting because the conversation is stemming from like, hey, I just heard some shit, let's talk about some shit. And that's much better than me windbagging about, you should never use headphones. Like, when they can hear it, it's just more impactful. So I deployed this in all of my classes, specifically my MPT senior class. And I'll share the anecdotal results. I don't have a study yet for this because I literally just picked this up like 6 months ago. But learning about and using the software has taught students why their mixes weren't translating into the classroom environment. They would go home and mix, swear to God, they mixed me the greatest mix in the world, and they would come in and we'd play it on our Gentle X in our treated room with spare anechoic chamber parts, and they would be like so disappointed that the bass sounded like crap. And they would be deflated, and I said, it's okay, it doesn't translate. But they didn't understand exactly why, but this demonstration kind of helped them see what that was about. It's significantly improved the quality of student work, especially in early stages of mixed development. So this is what I was also happy to see, but also kind of upset to see. The time I used to take to work through student projects just shrunk. The students were coming in and, damn it, their mixes were good. They actually sounded great. They were what they intended. And so that meant I suddenly had to add more weeks to curriculum and talk about more things and get into other conversations that I wasn't prepared to have actually in my curriculum. They were just kind of on the spot like, oh wow, okay, so you did get EQ. Let's talk about Baxendale curves, I guess, for a little while and like get more into that. I don't know. And that was really gratifying, but it was, another unexpected surprise. We talked about how this opened the door for learning about headphone design issues. What I thought was also surprising, and I don't know how students would feel about this or what your feedback would be about this, but they really started trash talking each other's headphones a little bit because they were aware of the curves now and the non-linearities and say, oh, you got those, you spent all that money, but you got that bump at 12K, and they would like taunt each other, and in a good way. But I thought that was pretty funny because that would never have happened otherwise. Their confidence and mixed decisions have generated more enthusiasm for their projects because now they feel like they're getting it. The teaching studios, this is another big thing for educators in terms of hacking the technology. The Studio Edition with this microphone has helped us with our 2 different studios that we teach in. They sound different. They have their own acoustic challenges. We know that one of them really sucks and the other one was pretty good. So when a student wanted to book the one that they wanted to work in, it was always the really good studio, never the one that sucked. So it was like sort of the black sheep studio in the facility. And I know every audio administrator knows what that is because we all have them. But once we put that software in to correct for some of those problems, the difference between the two went from like this to closer to that. And so students were actually able to use more studio space without feeling like they were using the crappy studio. And it's hard to feel good about your work when you walk into a studio you know has problems and you don't really know what they are yet. Most importantly, students are now aware of issues surrounding room treatment and better grasp the importance of proper room setup. Now it's funny. Instead of like saying, oh man, let's just talk lustfully about speakers and the nicest speakers we could ever dream of affording, that must be what we need, to saying, to shit-talking their headphones, and then saying, oh, speakers, man, let's just treat rooms, man. Let's get into treating rooms. Because if we can treat our rooms, then Sonarworks could work better and we could take our KRK5 rockets and actually maybe do something with them and have it, maybe you spend $300 on those, but that ends up being like a, I don't know, $1,000 set of reference monitors after you've tuned it. And it's funny, the students who've gotten the software and have borrowed my microphone have taken it home to test in their dorm rooms. And they come back saying, yeah, my dorm room still sounds shit, but it's less shit than it was. It's actually, I understand what it's doing now, and I'm aware of it. And there's something really powerful and impactful. I didn't have to teach them anything. They just had to go home and play. And that's the audio dream, right, as an audio educator. Like, go play with audio and learn by doing. That's the best way to get this stuff. So I've talked a lot about Sonarworks. I've seen that work the best in our environment, but I want to also just mention that there's other software out there. Morphit by Tone Boosters is doing something similar. I think Waves NX has a product for headphones, though I haven't looked at that so much. Headphone EQ by Math Audio. Are plugins and standalone software that can do corrective headphone testing. I'm really looking forward to digging into these too to figure out like which one is better for this and which one's better for that. And I think any student should really be looking at this too. And I would encourage educators to look into them too. If you have experience, share them with me. I'd really like to hear how it's working for you. The other one, I mentioned earlier that problem of sound being in your head when you wear headphones. I would encourage you to look at GoodHertz makes this plugin called Can Opener, and it applies a little bit of crosstalk to the cans, so it actually throws that phantom center out in front of you, so it's not in your head in headphones, which is a nice pairing with Sonarworks because you get the flat response, and then you also get that imaging problem solved in front of you. So once we cobble all this together, I think we've hacked the headphone problem. I don't know all the way, but to a great extent further than we did before. And I'm seeing the results in my class, and the reason why I wanted to give this presentation and give this talk is that it's rare when we have an education opportunity where we get together as teachers and students where we have a tool that we can use and pillage and plunder, and it really changes the way we approach things. And I've really been excited this year at the number of ways I've been able to augment my curriculum, change my curriculum, because I know now that my students are hearing things in a more consistent way. And it seems so trite, but it really, I don't know, man, it's really something I can get behind and believe in. This ends part 1 of presentation. Part 2 of presentation is the question, can technology hack the analog studio environment? And this is the other half of my own specific research. So applying the system of 4 to the analog 3D